Hi, my name is Paige. Welcome to my channel. So you are on part 3 of my, I just poked myself in the eye. You are on part 3 of my clearing off my bookshelves, unhauling some books, and now we are hauling some of my books. So I really think that's all that I have to tell you. This is just a little introduction to the video. If you haven't seen the past 2 videos, I will link my bookshelf rearranging right here for you so you can see that one first. And yeah, enjoy this video. I hope that I picked up some of your favorites. Let me know in the comments if I did. So in my last clear my shelves video, which I will link right here, I ended up hauling a couple of books that I got. 2 were birthday gifts from Randy Lynn, and 1 was a book that my mom accidentally sent to my house that I snagged and will give back to her after I read it. And that put me at 115 books on my physical TBR shelf. So we know my goal for this year has been to try and get my TBR shelf down to 80 books. Yet I am sitting in front of a pile of quite a few books that I need to tell you about. So we are just gonna haul these, and we are not gonna judge me because it was my birthday and all I wanted to do was a little free library hop, and then I got a gift card from one friend, and then my mom let me go to Changing Hands and I used some store credit there to buy a couple more books. So what should I start with? Let's start off with a couple of birthday gifts that I got from my friends. So I already mentioned that Randy Lynn got me 2 books. She got me Ocean's Echo and the Small Way? No, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That title always confuses me. So those were 2 books from Randy Lynn. And then I got Ophelia Ever After by Raquel Marie and Saga Volume 10. And both of these were from Aspasia. And I'm so excited to read both of these. I've heard nothing but great things. I'm nervous about this one, but still excited. And then the wonderful Nat sent me Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. And I have the funniest story, or I think it's very funny. I had gone to the bookstore and I was picking out a few books, and 2 of them were books that I knew that Nat had read, and one of them just so happened to be this book. I came home and found an Amazon box on my patio, and when I opened it, it was this. So I went back and returned the one that I had bought, but just know that I am so excited to read this because I bought it literally the same day that it arrived at my house from Nat. So thank you so much for this one. I'm super duper excited to get to it. I wish that I could add it to my July TBR. I was just about to say I'm gonna read it this month, but it might need to wait a little bit. If you haven't already seen my July TBR, it's a little bit long. So soon, I will be reading this very, very soon. And then we're just gonna pull right off at the top of these shelves. I picked up For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten. It was a used book, so it was not quite as expensive as some others, but I had a friend tell me that she had read this one and really liked it, and I think I had gotten it confused with The Wolf and the Woodsman for a little while, and I didn't love The Wolf and the Woodsman, so maybe I might like this one. I believe it's a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. Unsure though. I don't know much about it, but my friend recommended it to me, so that's why I got it. I then grabbed And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie because this is the classic that I want to read in August, because I thought Agatha Christie August sounded really fun. So we are going to be reading this one. I don't know much about it, but it sounds like there were 10 people all in one place, and then they slowly get killed off one by one, and it is a mystery, and I'm excited. Then I saw that Kindred by Octavia E. Butler was on sale, so I grabbed this one because it's one I've heard amazing things about, but I've also heard it's completely heartbreaking. So who knows when I'll get to it, because I don't love heartbreaking, but I've heard that it is like a must read. So it's been on my TBR for a very long time, and I'm finally glad to say that I found it used. I really do try and look out for used books at my used bookstore just because I feel like the prices are a little bit more reasonable than some of the prices these days. Like this next book, I think I spent $30 on this one. But I've been really wanting to read this one. I have heard so many people give it 5 stars, and do I remember what it's about at this moment? No, because all intelligence has left me. So it kind of reminds me of A Taste of Golden Iron in a little bit. I don't know why it's giving me those vibes, but it looks like we have a main character named Vel who is supposed to be marrying this princess? No, just a girl from a neighboring country, it seems like, but his preferences for men become known, and instead he is set up to marry her brother instead. And so it's like a political marriage. which maybe isn't quite like A Taste of Golden Iron, but there's another book that maybe it was. Winter's Orbit? Yes, Winter's Orbit, that's what I'm thinking of. So I also want to read this immediately. I have problems. I want to read so many books in July, I can't even process it, but super duper excited. This sounds so good. I loved arranged marriage stories. I loved it in fan fiction, so every single book that I've read so far with it, I've really enjoyed. So thank you, Nat, again for this recommendation. I picked it up because of you. Also, I'm so sorry if this video is a little bit chaotic and all over the place. I have not planned any of my videos. I just know I have to film right now. This is all the time I have, and all I want to do is play The Sims. So I'm a little all over the place, but it is okay. Please stick with me. One book that immediately gets to go on my red shelf is In the Lives of Puppets. I had not picked it up yet, and I finally decided to because my friend gave me a gift card to Barnes & Noble, and I just had to have this little edition with Rambo on it. It is too cute. So I'm going to be putting that right away on my red shelf. But I swear to God, TJ Clune, if you come out with another copy of this that has beautiful sprayed edges, I will scream. I cannot keep owning 400 copies of your books. Okay, sir? Thanks. And then I bought a few books on Book Outlet, but I was very good. I only allowed myself to buy things that have been on my wish list. So not books that I want to add to my wish list, books that were already on there. And we are starting with Ashley Parker Doesn't Fail by Ashley Herring Blake. I liked Delilah Green Doesn't Care. It wasn't a favorite. I honestly don't think about it very often, but I heard that this one is even better. So I'm very excited to get to this one. I didn't love Astrid though, so I am hoping that she is fully redeemed in this book and that I can fall in love with her. So we will see how this one goes. I'm still trying to figure out if I like Ashley Herring Blake's adult content. I like her middle grade stuff, so I'm still figuring it out with her. I then got Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst, and I got The Deepest Blue by the same author. And when I was adding these books to my Goodreads and trying to figure out if there were audiobook options, I found out that this one is actually book 4, and I'm not sure if it's a series or if they're all just standalones within the same world. So I was under the impression that it was a standalone. So I could be very wrong on that one, but I read The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst last year and loved it. It was so good. I still think about it to this day. And so I wanted to read more by her, and I think I looked at her website and was just trying to read through all of the different adult options that she had, and these were two that like really intrigued me. So need to double check if I need to buy the first 3 books of this series or if I can read this one alone. So it sounds like there's a character named Marion who has the ability to control spirits, and because of this she gets imprisoned with other women like her, and they are sent to an island without food, without shelter, and any tools except their own instincts and magic, and they have to survive this island to become declared as heirs to the queen. So I read that premise and thought it was really cool. So now I'm just really confused if I need to read any more in this series, but it sounds so cool as it is, so maybe it is a standalone. We will see. This one I'm a little confused on what the premise is, but it seems like it has to do with races, and if you are some sort of like bad individual, you can win these races and not become a monster, but if you lose you do become a monster or you die. So it sounded interesting the first time I read through it, and I think that this is a standalone. So if it's not, I just did a really bad job of buying some books, but it sounds really cool, and I hope it has like the same feeling that The Bone Maker did. I don't know. I know it's set in a completely different world. I don't think it's tied into The Bone Maker at all, but I just really enjoyed the writing in The Bone Maker, so I just want to read more. I'm just now so worried that I bought books out of order for her. I really need to double check on that one. I then picked up Aphrodite and the Duke by J.J. McAvoy. Catherine Zophie had read this one time when we were on sprints, I think, and she was really enjoying it. I don't know if she ended up loving it, but it just sounded kind of cute. It seems like it could be a second chance romance or like a enemies to lovers sort of situation, but I don't know. I heard her reading it, she said she liked it enough, and it was just on my TBR for a long time. Sometimes I do that. I just hear about a book and then the cover is just super cute, or I feel like the premise is cute enough, so I grab it and I go into it blind. I like doing that though. It just seems more fun sometimes to go into a book blind. I don't know. I then picked up Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier, which I think I got confused when I purchased The Night Swim by Megan Golden, and all I know is that these are thrillers. and I don't think I want to know anything more. I just want to read more thrillers and have a good time by not knowing anything. I then picked up The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, and this one was one that Jessie from The Bookish Mom had read and loved. She was also who I heard about Sarah Beth Durst from, so she gives really good recommendations. And this one I believe that she just like was super surprised by, and it looks like it's about like a multiverse and traveling through the multiverse, but you can't go into a world where your counterpart is also alive, and Kara seems to die in a lot of worlds, so she's able to jump between a lot of different worlds. So it sounds very interesting. I don't know much else than that, but I think it's more sci-fi-esque, and I really do want to try and give sci-fi more of a chance. I don't end up picking it up as often, but I'm excited for this one. And then my mom got me Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken, and she said that she was just looking through Barnes & Noble and this one ended up being signed, and so she wanted to give me a signed copy of a book, and she said that it looks similar to some of the books she's seen on my Goodreads, so let's see what it's about. I don't think I fully understand it, but it seems like there are two characters on the hunt for some sort of powerful ring from Arthurian legends. So they are after these rings. I don't know what they want to do with the ring, but it's very powerful. So it sounds like it'll be an enemies to lovers sort of romantic fantasy, and I don't know. I feel like it's very new, so there's not a lot of reviews out too, but I will give it a go because my mom got it for me and she got me a signed copy, which is really sweet of her. So we shall see how I feel about this one. It looks interesting though. It looks interesting enough. I really need to organize that. That is a little bit of a mess. Okay, and then the rest of these books I got from little free libraries. I will just pull from the top. So in one of them I found When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, which is another thriller I have just heard people read and really liked. I think I always got it confused with The Woman in the Window. I don't know. I've heard it's a pretty good one, so I don't want to know much else about it, as I say with every thriller that I grab. I then got 3 books, I think, from the same little free library because they were so precious, and they had a whole shelf that was in rainbow order of all queer stories. So they had Chef's Kiss by TJ Alexander, which seems like a sapphic, possibly? No, not sapphic. One of them is non-binary, and they are chefs. So it's a cutesy cooking queer story. Yes. Sounds great. And then we have a Christmas queer story, which is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince by Timothy Janofsky. I just assume that one of them is probably very Grinch-like and doesn't believe in Christmas. I could read the back of it, but I'm not gonna because that's a Christmas problem. And then we got A Scatter of Light by Melinda Lowe, and I think that this one is the sapphic one that I picked up. Do I know anything else about it? No. So it looks like we have a character named Aria who has to go stay with her grandmother, which is kind of not what she wanted to do for the summer, but she finds Steph Nichols, who is her grandma's gardener, and they seem to form some sort of relationship, which I think sounds very cutesy and summery. Oh, and I guess what this was an ARC, and it says Companion to the Last Night at the Telegraph Club, which I have not read, so maybe I need to read that first. Okay. Clearly I did not read the entire back of this. It was also 115 degrees while I was little free library hunting, so I didn't want to stand there sometimes because I was burning alive, it felt like. And I think at that same little free library we found The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, which I don't love that the owner of the little free library, I assume, wrote on the cover of all of them. Like, I know I'm not going to keep this one on my shelf, but it just kind of feels rude. So every single one of the books that we had pulled, maybe not this, but there was a handful that my mom had grabbed that all had somebody written on it. So maybe it was somebody who was unhauling them after writing on the cover, but like, really, you could just write in here. You could just write on the title page. That would be an option, you know? Like, ugh, I don't like that. But I've heard really great things about Kristen Hanna. It's really chunky, so who knows when I will get to it. I'll probably put it off for another year or two, like I have The Nightingale, but one day eventually I'll get to them, or I'll just hand it to my mom and let her decide if it's worth reading. Okay, and last but not least, I got so excited when I saw these. I've just never seen these editions, and I just think it's really cool looking. Unfortunately, it wasn't a whole set, but I did find The Two Towers and The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. So these are book 2 and 3 of The Lord of the Rings, and I personally have never seen these covers before, and I love them. They were published in the late 60s, I believe, when I was looking it up, and whoever owned them, it looks like Terry Washburn, wrote that she got it February 13th of 1970 at the top of these. So I don't know if somebody had grabbed book 1 and didn't pick up book 2 or 3, or if Terry Washburn or whoever was unhauling her books did not put book 1 in there, but I have found it on eBay. I might eventually try and seek it out. There's another bookstore that has some older books that I could probably see if I can find the matching missing set of this one. But I just thought these covers were so cool. I don't have any intention of reading The Lord of the Rings anytime soon. It's somewhere on my bucket list of books, but just not in the next year or so. But look at how cool these look. I just think they're so colorful and so fun. So if you happen to have book 1 in this edition and want to just send it to me, that'd be great. I'm just kidding. No, totally keep it. It looks so cool. But I will try and track down one day how I can get book 1. And there is one more book that I have hauled. It just hasn't shown up in the mail yet, and that is Lost in the Moment and Found by Shauna McGuire. So I would hold that up if I had it, but I do not. So that brings my total to 22 books that I have now officially hauled, which I could probably do the mental math, but I am not going to. You're probably all laughing at me that I had to pull up my calculator to tell you that I now officially have 137 books on my physical TBR. Hi! Before we end this video, this is future me who has just gotten home and purchased 3 books. So let me tell you about those ones too that we're adding. So we have Sleeping Giants, which I got on sale for $8.50. I had to get it, of course. I also got Jade City, which I've wanted for so long, so I was glad to find this for only $9. Come on, I had to have it. And then the one that was a little bit more pricey was The Atlas Paradox. I just read Atlas 6 and I needed to get this immediately, so we are adding those 3 to whatever that final number was. I will put that on the screen somewhere around here, maybe somewhere, and that is my official final number. But I had to get them. They were on sale, and I had a fun book club day with 2 of my friends, so it was a necessary purchase and I am okay with it. But yeah, it changes my number from what I said in this video to whatever I put on the screen. But yeah, now let's wrap up this video. I started this year with 145. We got all the way down to 115, and we are now back up. So I have a lot of reading to do. That is why my goal is to read 25 books in the month of July, to at least kind of get me back on track. So wish me luck on that. And if you want to see me reading any of these books or have any ideas for what theme these books can fit into for a Clear My Shelves video, I would greatly appreciate that. But yeah, let me know what the coolest book is that I picked up, or the one that you think I should read first. And I think that's all that I have to say. I know I'm all over the place today, but I hope you bared with me. Alright, I will see you in my next video, which will be out very, very shortly. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with my chaos, and yeah, goodbye.